Hey guys, Mike here from Lunch Money Comics. It's super early in the morning because today is a great day. I'm here at the Hawks and Reed Center in Greenfield, Massachusetts for my favorite local comic book show, the Western Mass Comic Book Show. And this is a fantastic show. There's a lot of great people today, but it doesn't open for an hour, but that's okay because the sponsor of this event, which is His and Her Comics right down the street, is having a special sale to open up first thing this morning. Lots of great books for $1 a piece. Let's start off the day strong, guys. Here we go. Oh boy, and there's already a line. Not surprised at all.
Speak of the devil.
Speak of the devil.
How's it going?
Good.
How's it going, Mike?
Not bad, guys. Hey, there he is. There they are. Everyone start digging. Happy day. Just gotta find some room here. It is. This first Hope Summers, isn't it? Oh, wait a minute. Hey. First Herbie the Robot. Heck yeah. Jeez.
Hey, stranger. How you doing?
Love dinosaur covers.
Can I grab that one?
Yeah. It's a cool one. It's a book I always grab. Love it. Yeah. Oh. First Mobius. Wolverine. Oh, I doubt they'll be in here, but let's check the numbers everyone checks. Yep, 88's missing. But do they have 75? They do. A lot of happy people. This is, yeah. This is first Spidey Supreme. It's a great book. Cool design. Hold on. Hey, look at that. All right, I could do that all day, but I don't have time for that. Let's see if we can get over to the show a little early. All set. All right, guys. Heading over to the show. It's a little early. Doesn't open for another half an hour, but I'm hoping, because I'm so short on time, I can sneak in and get some footage, and I'll explain in a little bit why I'm so short on time. Going to be an interesting day, guys. Fun one, though. All right, here we go. Sneaking in a little early here. Hey, guys. I'll get a goodie bag on the way out. And I love this building. There's Kit right now. Fan of the early access, guys. Fan of that. Oh, Jim Lawson, who I actually just saw outside. We get some treats. Oh yeah, Joel's here. My buddy Joel always has awesome books. And this is the exclusive for the Western Mass show.
Yeah, man.
What's up? Did Kit ask you to do that, or did you just? Oh, that's awesome. Oh,
To make things specific to shows, because then it kind of rewards the people that actually come
absolutely. Original art by Michael Dooney here. Incredible stuff. That's great. What I'm eyeing now is this. He's got a couple of convention exclusives. That's cool. Wow. All right. Thanks, Mike. I'm here with Mr. Michael Dooney, famous from Mirage Studios. Not only a great Ninja Turtle artist, but of course, just an incredible artist in general. I met you last year for the first time. Always great to see you.
You too, man.
And I got some original Ninja Turtle art from him of my favorite turtle, Leonardo. So
Nice.
appreciate it.
Appreciate
You excited for the show?
Appreciate the show. Yep.
Absolutely. Western Mass Comic Show, man. It's great for all of us out here in Western Mass, but in general, great New England show. So,
All right.
good to see you.
Too bad. See ya.
All right, we have Jim Lawson here. Hey, Jim. Just come back to head of him. We have Enterprise before us. Good friends there. Pretty big guests over here. Will Murray, creative Squirrel Girl. Oh, I wish I knew that. I would have brought some Squirrel Girl stuff. Some stuff up on the stage with my buddy Buzz Comics, who I just saw. You are everywhere, buddy. Really? Check it out.
Alright, Gary, I'll be right here.
All right, guys. So on the 4th floor is the rest of the show. You know what? I'm taking the stairs. I need some exercise. It's a beautiful old building. Let's go for it. All right, I got my steps in. Here's the rest of the show. Okay. All right. Mike, how you doing? Hey. There's Ben. Gotta go say hi to Ben. Mr. Ben Toss, how you doing, buddy? Let me put some stuff down. You're the man of the hour.
Best YouTuber on the net.
Oh,
It's
come
great to see
on,
you, brother.
come on. Yeah, we had a pretty great interview, and hopefully some people show up because of it. I'd love to see some people here.
I hope that people just come, have a good time, they enjoy their time. I hope that it's just a great place for the community,
Oh yeah,
great place for friends.
absolutely. And then new copy of Freedom Edge is gorgeous, gorgeous.
It looks a little pretty.
Yeah.
We amped up and we're losing money every time.
Of
but
course.
if people want to read the story, that's fine by me.
You're getting it out there. Beautiful. Annette de Blue. Thanks, guys. I'll come back. We have so many great creators here today. Man, how's it going? All right, guys, I'm here with Hans Rickheit, who I know because he's a local comic creator, and I actually have picked up and read this copy of Delia, fantastic graphic novel. Yeah, Hans, great job, man. Absolutely love your work. Thank you so. Yeah, I'll have to have you sign my book when I come back. Hey, Josh, fellow Council of X member.
That's right.
going on,
Council of
buddy?
X and Colossus Collector. Come check us out.
Absolutely. You brought the goods, huh?
Yeah, man.
First time setting up in a long time, at least at this show, right?
Yeah.
Definitely interested in these. I need these characters for my wall, and I actually had this one as a kid,
I was
so.
gonna say you
Never had the Beast, though.
Council of X expanded.
You can see it, yeah, it's on the top row, yeah. Cool. All right.
Oh, hey.
There you
How
go.
do we get over here?
Hey! I have no idea who these guys are.
Yeah.
They let anybody sell these shows these
I
days.
wasn't allowed in this year.
No. Matt is selling. He loves his golden age in this book. Wow. First appearance of Airman. I remember when he got that. There we go. Signed last year. Made a surprise guest appearance. Wow.
And you got up and played a couple of shows.
Wow. Matt's selling his FF2. All right, let's get some good books in here.
Exactly. But one of the he was wearing opened up his page, stuck the camera down, and took a picture of it.
Nice coffee too. Maddie's selling some big stuff.
I love this. You're filming while
Uh-huh.
digging. Good job. Like you've done this before.
Like I know what I'm doing, right? Almost. Oh, that's cool.
Only time I went was when the girl was supposed to be with
All right, we have Gary Smith here, comic artist. Oh, he did the awesome poster for the show. I love that. The Popeye is great. Awesome stuff. You gotta have a little Gustav Klimt kind of going on with this, huh?
Gustav Klimt and a lot of Maxine Parrish.
Oh, yeah.
Some originals.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. Wow.
Primarily in oil.
Yeah. And of course, I'm here with my good friend Jeff from Comic Spa. You got the T-shirt too.
Yes,
Right.
I finally wore. I haven't been wearing it in a while. I figured I better start wearing it again.
Yeah, there we go. We got matching shirts. There we go. They go good together. So, yeah, and I just sold Jeff some books. Actually, I have some more spending money because I was running low. So.
Once I was looking for Dave Stevens, so
Dave Stevens.
I'm still hunting.
I had to part with some, so happy you got them. All right, talk to you later, Jeff.
Yes,
Good to
thank
see
you so much.
I know. All right, guys. So I was at the show for 1 hour, and I'm leaving. But not because I really want to leave. It's because I actually moonlight in another job as a musician. As a matter of fact, I play music at churches on the weekends. Normally they're the morning or afternoon. Today is right smack in the middle of the day. So I really don't want to miss the show. I have a lot of friends in there. I have a lot of stuff I want to still buy. I barely got anything. So I'm going to race home, get dressed up, all dolled up, grab my guitar, head on over to church, play, sing, and then race back here, probably still dressed up. Burn the candle at both ends, guys, absolutely. But this is my life now. I'll see you in a bit. It's go time. All right, guys, after a long drive back, I've swapped my guitar bag for a backpack full of comic books. Yeah, there's only about a half an hour to spare, so I'm gonna do my best to try to find something cool. But either way, after the show is a hangout, and a lot of people, including the comic artists, are going to a pub. So I'm pretty excited for that, although I think I'm a little overdressed. Let's go have some fun. All right, made it back, Kit. All right, guys, I'm here with my buddy Kit of Amazing Comics, the coordinator of this amazing event, my favorite comic show in Western Massachusetts. Pretty great show, man.
Awesome show today.
Yeah, you've been a long day for you?
Long day, but we had a great turnout. People were really excited to meet Rick Parker and
Oh,
Lisa
yeah?
Truciani, Gary Halgren. I saw Casey Collar and Jim Lawson, and
Oh, yeah.
Michael Dooney's table completely jam-packed all day. So
awesome, yeah.
Our vendors are saying they had an ecstatic day, great sales. So
Awesome. Yeah, I've never seen the caliber of comic creators that you did this year, so you did a fantastic job. I think
we
everyone's
definitely
excited.
brought out extra talent this year.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had 9 headliners. Usually
Wow.
we have 2 or 3. So.
That's pretty awesome. And it's in the beautiful Hawks and Reed building. I love coming here. I love it. So
Awesome.
I have a little bit of time to get something good, right?
Just
Hey,
enough.
Just enough. All right, let me go hunting. All right.
Enjoy.
Wow, this place really did clear out in the time I've been away. All right, I'm too tired. We're taking the elevator this time. All right. First things first, one of the benefits of going home is I got to grab my copy of Delia. Comic book YouTuber. Awesome. Thank you so much, Hans. Awesome. Appreciate it. Beautiful. Love this book. All right, I got this beautiful comic book by Gary Smith here. His art was absolutely fantastic. I almost forgot I wanted some, so thank you so much, Gary. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Hope you enjoyed the read.
I think I will. Beautiful. Josh, holding out here. Josh has some really good stuff in here.
Got it. You guys are all set?
Josh, where'd this stuff come from?
I had it.
Never seen this
I'm
stuff
down to
before.
bringing my own personal stuff now because I teamed up with Larry, so
Right.
the end here is just my stuff.
Wow.
They sing like a very popular.
Cool.
I've never seen it before. No, first.
An 8? Yeah.
No, this is new to us.
I shredded. I wouldn't say that, but.
Is this something you picked out?
Jeff. All right, guys, what an awesome show. I didn't have a lot of time there, but I made every minute worth it. I got to hang out with some friends, meet some fantastic local artists and creators, got some original art, some local comic book content, and definitely some more mainstream ones. I'm probably going to go out to eat with all those guys. Should be a fun time, but either way, I'll see you all back at home, show you what I got. Man, am I tired. Yeah. I had a pretty busy day, guys. As you can see, hopefully you didn't mind a little insight into how crazy my life is. Not only that, this was my second comic book show in as many days. The day before was the 3 Men in a Basement comic book swap that was featured in my last video. And anyone that watched that video will have known I stayed out a little later than I maybe should have. So I was dragging on this day. However, I wasn't going to miss this show for the world because it's sort of my local comic book show. You know, it is sponsored by my local comic book shop, His and Her Comics. You know, there was tons of friends that I have that was selling there. The coordinator, Kit, a good friend of mine, was able to get some incredible names in the industry to go to this show. It was actually very impressive. The best show they put on yet. You know, His and Her Comics was having that big sale on dollar books. I wasn't going to miss this for the world, guys. But the reason why I want to rush back so badly was because I also knew a lot of those guys were going out to dinner later. Yeah, after the show, after everything was picked up, you know, some of those, you know, my friends who were selling comics, but some of those comic creators were also going out to a pub down the street. So at the end there, I got to sneak away. I did change in the car real quick, and I was early, which is great because it gave me an opportunity to sit at the bar with the two guys from Mirage Studios who worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Mirage Studios was actually in Western Massachusetts, and I got to hang out with Michael Dooney and Jim Lawson, as well as Jim's wife. Yeah, we talked about, you know, comic books a little bit and the stuff they're working on, but mostly we talked about life and living out here in Western Massachusetts. You know, we all live in kind of a rural area. Yeah, that was really mostly what we were talking about, but it was an experience I definitely won't forget. I have one more story I want to tell from that dinner, though, and it's a little embarrassing. So, a couple of people that were there, we had Gary Halgren, who is a legendary underground comic artist from the 70s. He worked on Air Pirates. He was there. I don't think he gets out very much. I didn't really have a chance to talk to him. I just basically said, you know, hi and bye. Same thing with Rick Parker and his wife, Lisa. Now, Rick Parker is a kind of a legendary cartoonist in his own right. He's a great artist. A couple of things he's known for. He actually worked on Beavis and Butthead as like the primary artist on the MTV show in the 90s. I don't want to pigeonhole him. He is an incredible artist who's worked on lots more besides that. And he was a longtime letterer for Marvel Comics. Not only that, his wife Lisa was there, and she not only has worked on tons of children's books, she actually used to write comic books as well. She worked on Morbius and Barbie. So these two people were there. They were fantastic. They live in New England as well, and I barely said anything to them at all. I was exhausted, guys. You know, I had my dinner. I just needed to go home. I went home, and I promptly crashed. I needed the rest, and I'm filming this actually a couple days later now that I've actually like had a chance to recharge my batteries. But the next morning, I'm chatting with Kit online. We're sharing like pictures and stuff because he wanted, you know, some video of the meal, and I wanted some pictures of the, you know, of the show itself. And we're talking, and I don't know what it was. I think it's because I was more well rested. But as we're talking about the people that were there, the epiphany popped in my head. Rick Parker was a letterer for Marvel Comics in the 80s. He probably worked on the X-Men Heroes for Hope book. Now, for those of you that watch Lunch Money Comics often, I think you know what book I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, I'm going to remind you anyways. This is X-Men Heroes for Hope. This was a book put out by Marvel in 1985 to raise money for the famine in East Africa. And they had everyone in the industry that was around pretty much work on this book. And every couple of pages, the writer, penciler, inker, letterer, and colorist changed. And because so many people worked on this book, I've been carting this around to all the local comic book shows, trying to get as many people to sign it as possible. And I have quite a few signatures on here. So you can imagine my shock when this popped into my head, this epiphany. Did he work on it? I rushed down here and grabbed my little cheat sheet, and I go to the letterer column, and I breathed a sigh of relief momentarily as I go all the way down. Oh, good, he didn't work on it. And then I got down right to the bottom, and I saw that on pages 42 through 44, who was the letterer? Mr. Rick Parker. He was sitting 6 feet away from me at dinner, and I did not even think, I did not consider leading up to this day, at the day, or even, you know, the night and morning after that he probably worked in this book. Of course he worked in this book. I was absolutely kicking myself. What a bonehead. You know, guys, it's not just missing the signature, it's missing the story, right? Every single time I had someone sign this book, I got a good 30-second to a minute story about, you know, when they worked on this. I had an opportunity here, a real opportunity to have like an actual conversation, open it up, talk about it. Here's some stories of the Marvel bullpen back then. Barely said anything to, you know, Rick and his wife. I felt like I felt so bad. I told Kit that. And Kit said, don't worry, they're going to try to get them back next year. They are locals from New England. And also, Rick also has a new publication coming out very soon. I think it's on pre-order already. I'll put some links down in my description. He might be doing like a signing at His and Her Comics or something like that. So I'm sure I'll bump into Rick and Lisa at some point. I can have Rick sign this. But still, guys, I felt like a bonehead. And but here's the thing. It's still a story, right? I mean, I always say this. The books I collect is not just the books. It's the stories attached to them. Why I like the book, where I was when I got it, how I got it. I remember pretty much that for every single book in my collection. And this book here has more stories and memories attached to it than any other one in my collection. And even though he didn't sign it, That's one more story, right? I can always look at this book forever and tell the story of how Bonehead Mike didn't even realize that, someone worked in this book and I had dinner with them. But at least it's a story that adds to the lore of this book. Hopefully I get it signed at some point. So Rick and Lisa, I hope to bump into you again someday. Hope you guys enjoyed that story at my expense. So I got to show you guys some books now, right? Because I got some pretty good stuff in my limited amount of time there. But before I do, if you like this sort of stuff, head on down, hit that like button. Follow me on Instagram on Lunch Money Comics IG, and definitely make sure you're following Amazing Comics, His and Her Comics, and the Western Mass Comic Book Show on Instagram and on Facebook. So if you are in the Northeastern United States, you don't miss next year's show. I have a good feeling that it's going to be even bigger and better than it was this year. So let's start bright and early at His and Her Comics, because although the show was opening up at 10, His and Hers opened up at 9 o'clock because he recently got in a gigantic collection of back issues, something like 20 plus long boxes, and he was selling everything in there for $1. The word definitely got out. There was a line waiting before they even opened, and I ran in there, guys, and it was an absolute zoo. I was only in there for about 10 or 15 minutes. I wanted to leave and give some more space to people. But yeah, I was able to get a little handful of books. Everything was $1, and I think I found some pretty good ones in my short amount of time there. First up, we have this. This is a fake newspaper. You see, it's a fake Daily Bugle, and it's talking about Civil War. That's because this was a promotional publication that Marvel put out during the original 2006 Civil War. And yeah, it's a fake newspaper sort of explaining all the stuff going on. And I love stuff like this, guys. It's sort of like a really cool prop to have kind of in a nerd room like this. I might get a few more of them and kind of frame them. There's a whole bunch of them I'm going to try to collect. It's even a checklist on the back of all the publications that were in the Civil War storyline. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. And for $1, happy to pick it up. And I got to find a cool place to put it behind me. Absolutely. Speaking of Civil War, I also got this issue here. This is Civil War number 7. And this is the iconic image of Captain America fighting Iron Man. This is a very famous spread, right? And I think a lot of people know it now because it was also reused in the MCU movie Civil War. So had to pick it up, guys, for $1. I don't really know why I got this one. I just thought it was a really cool cover. This is King Thor number 3. It's from 2019. I only got it because Gore is really creepy looking, at least he is in the comic books, and I thought it was really cool. I found out afterwards it's a very minor key. It's the first time Gore becomes the Necroverse. I kind of know what the Necroverse is, guys, but that's a lot of words that I don't know what they mean because I haven't read this series. It's also a minor first appearance. I don't know anything about it. I got it for the cover, not for the key significance. Thought it was pretty cool. This one I kind of did know what it was. This is Symbiote Spider-Man Alien Reality number 3. That's a mouthful. I think it's from 2020. And this takes place in an alternate timeline where Spider-Man is Doctor Strange's apprentice. And in this one here, he dons the cloak and the gauntlets and uses magic, and he becomes what they call Spidey Supreme, a combination of Black Suit Spider-Man and the Sorcerer Supreme. It's a cool character. He's got a cool look to him. Even though it's an alternate reality, I think he's been featured in some of the mobile Marvel games, whatever. I don't know. I thought he was really cool. I think it's great looking, cool cover. Had to pick it up for $1. This one here is the Avengers number 268. This is part 2 of the Council of Kang storyline. I try to make little 3-part stories of this whenever I can. Not in the best shape, but happy to pick it up for $1. This one here, somebody who's behind me said, "Hey, Mike." And I turned around and they handed me this book. Guys, people know what I like. What can I say? They handed me this. This is Nightcrawler number 1. I think it's from 2013. And not only does this feature my favorite character, but it was written by my favorite writer, Chris Claremont worked on this. So yeah, people know what I like. It's good because I didn't have to hunt for this. Someone handed it to me, worth getting for $1. This is a book that's sort of topical. This is Wolverine number 75, part of the Fatal Attraction storyline. You get the hologram on all of them. And this takes place pretty much immediately after X-Men number 25, which is when Magneto rips out Wolverine's adamantium, which a lot of people I think saw in X-Men 97. In this issue, in the follow-up, Wolverine heals, and then you find out he has bone claws. They pop out, everyone's shocked, and mostly Wolverine. He doesn't remember anything from his past, of course, so he does not remember having bone claws ever. So it's the first time you see Wolverine's bone claws, and you start leading more towards an animalistic type Wolverine. So that all happens in this book. Happy to find it for $1. Another X-Men book. This is pretty cool. This is X-Men number 205. It's Chapter 5 of the Messiah Complex. And this is the first appearance of Hope Summers, the so-called mutant Messiah. She's a baby that's raised in the future by Cable, and then she comes back in time, and not only does she have an amazing power that she can copy all the mutants' powers, she's also an incredible fighter and tactician like Cable. Really cool character. Certainly, in terms of modern X-Men characters, I think she's one of the best. I think she's awesome. This is her first appearance. Absolutely worth $1 to me. This is another very topical book. I was happy I found this one. This is Fantastic Four number 209 from 1979, and this is the first appearance of Herbie the Robot. Now, a lot of people are thinking about Herbie now because, in addition to him being a robot, like sort of servant created by Reed Richards, he was featured very small in the promotional poster and art for the new Fantastic Four movie that's coming out. So because of that, people are expecting to see Herbie in the movie, and yeah, I had to get the book. It's kind of a silly little robot. I did flip through this, guys. It's funny. Immediately he bumps heads with Ben Grimm. The Thing hates him. But it's a cool little quirky character. And yeah, for $1, guys, of course I'm going to pick up this book. Listen, this book's going up in value because of that little, post there. I'm telling you guys, you can find this book in back issue bins. Don't spend a lot of money on this book. Same goes with this book. It's a book that was going for a little bit of money, but it's come down quite a lot. Fantastic Four number 353. This is the first appearance of Mobius, who for a long time in Marvel Comics was a very minor character who worked for the TVA, but of course has surged in popularity because he was played by Owen Wilson in the Loki TV show. Again, this book jumped up, but he's a minor character, guys. You can get this book in back issue bins for $1, as you see here. Still worth picking up. This book I always get. I talk about it all the time. I won't spend too much time. Fantastic Four number 348. This is the great cover of the new Fantastic Four. I love this team as a kid. I had the collector card, and of course, this is by Art Adams, who I absolutely love. Had to get this book. And the last one, what a great book. This is Nova number 1, and this is the first full appearance of Sam Alexander Nova. This is a pretty cool series written by Jeff Loeb. Now, most people know Nova was originally Richard Rider, who first appeared in Nova number 1, which I have back there somewhere. But yeah, here we're introduced to a younger Nova, Sam Alexander, as a kid from Earth who Richard Rider kind of takes under his wing. We have sort of a mentor-mentee relationship. Yeah, he's a character we may see in the future. I don't know. I like this series. I think this book is really cool. Great cover. Wicked happy to pick up this for $1. So yeah, guys, I think 12 books are here, and Nishon sold them to me for $10. So yeah, I wasn't there very long. I'm sure there were lots of goodies I passed up, but I was happy to grab these and sneak into the show a little early to get some footage. All right, speaking of the show, guys, I have some pretty cool stuff I got to show you. So the first items I got in the comic book show are not comic books at all. They're actually action figures. I got them from my friend Josh, aka Sasquatch Comics, who's not only a great local comic book seller and a huge X-Men fan, but he's also a fellow Council of X member. Yeah, my friend Ryan, the Colossus Collector, he's a fantastic YouTube channel. You should have already checked him out by now. He does this live show called the Council of X, where a whole bunch of X-Men fans get together every week to talk about everything X-Men related. Josh is a huge X-Men fan. He has the entire X-Men run, and we always talk X-Men stuff. So it was great to see a fellow member in the flesh and hang out, and we had a drink later too. But he had these toys. I saw it in one of his booths, where he sells at these flea markets. Told him I wanted them. He offered them to me really cheap. I wouldn't have it. Had to pay a little bit more for them. But here they are. Yeah, I got some action figures from the X-Men series in the 90s. There's an Archangel and a Beast. Now, this Archangel figure actually was my first, I think, Marvel action figure I ever owned. I'm serious. So I'm starting to collect these, actually. I think they're pretty cool. And what do I do with these toys? I'll show you. So although you guys can't see it right now with the way the camera's set up, when I do a live show like I do on the Colossus Collector Council of X, you can see where they all are. They're all up in the top row of my wall above all the comic books there. So I have a couple more X-Men toys. Geez, camera's all messed up now. So yeah, a couple more X-Men toys to hang up on my wall. I have a little bit of room left up there, guys, but they're cool to look at. They remind me of being a kid, and I got them pretty cheap for my buddy. So as I said, there was a ton of local comic book talent at the show, including some very familiar faces to me. My good friend Ben Tawes, creator of Freedom Edge, was there at his very first show. He recently republished Freedom Edge in a beautiful new format, and he was there, basically putting out his vision to the whole world. And Ben's a great guy. We did an interview recently. I talked about this book. We did it down here in the Lunch Money Comics studio, and we posted it on his YouTube page. So I'll link to it right here if you haven't seen it. We had a really fun time. So Ben, it was great to see you there. I hope you had fun at your first comic book show. Guys, there were a lot of local comic artists there. I didn't have time to talk to all of them, but this is another one I was very impressed with. This was a guy named Gary Smith, who was there. At first, I thought was just like wall art. Like, he had incredible mixed medium. We had watercolors. He had stuff that looked very much like Gustav Klimt. You guys know who that is? The famous painting, The Kiss. It doesn't matter. He had beautiful, framed art and things that you could buy. But then I found out, talking to him, that he also does comic books, and he self-published his own. This is Tales of Jolene #2, and the reason I had to have this, guys, I said his art was amazing. Well, this entire book is done in watercolor. unbelievable. You very rarely see stuff like this, guys. It was unique. It was interesting. Large format. I thought it was awesome. Yeah, we had a little talk about it. I mean, how cool is that? Look at like the Jack Kirby-esque, mummy fist there. Yeah, I mean, just absolutely a gorgeous. I mean, look at this. That's beautiful. So I was very impressed with this artwork, and I was happy to get this book. I try to always say, guys, support local comic book artists whenever you can. And I'm going to link to all these guys if I can find information to their socials and where you can see their artwork. I will link to it all down in my description. Definitely check it out if you're interested in seeing it, if you want to buy some of their works, guys. Always try to support your local comic book artists. I was happy to support at least one of them adequately on this day. All right, let me show you some of the more traditional comic books that I got at this show. Okay, so I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly, starting with this one here. This is an Alex Ross timeless variant cover, of course, featuring Magneto. I believe this is Scarlet Witch, like number 4, but who cares? You get these for the cool covers. Alex Ross, very famous painted style. Years ago, we did a hero series. Each of them, the characters featured on a different comic book. And then very recently, he did a villain series. Magneto is part of the villain series, which I take a little bit of umbrage with. I think Magneto is definitely an anti-hero, one of the X-Men. Now, I come across these books all the time, guys. I don't particularly collect them, except the X-Men ones. And I think Magneto is definitely an X-Men in my mind, so I was happy to pick this up. I bet you guys can't guess how much I paid for it. Yep, I got it for $5 from my buddy Joel. So thanks so much, Joel, adding this to my X-Men Alex Ross collection. These next 2 comic books I got for free, and I will explain why I got them from my buddy Matt. And the first one is this. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin Director's Cut. Now, The Last Ronin was a series that started in 2020. It was 5 parts, published by IDW, conceived by the original Ninja Turtles creators, Eastman and Laird. And it takes place like in an alternate future where there's only one Ninja Turtle left. All of his brothers have been killed, and he's seeking revenge against, I think, Shredder's like grandson. And for those of you that haven't read this, I'm not going to tell you which Ninja Turtle it actually is. I think it's a little bit of a reveal. But yeah, this is pretty cool because not only is it, the series, but it has some cool original art and panels in it, which I thought was really neat. And my buddy Matt had a couple of copies of this, and I just remarked in earshot of many people, I've never actually read this before. And everyone was like, what? How have you not read that? Matt's like, just take it. Just take it and read it. So I absolutely will. Matt, thank you so much. It was a Ninja Turtle kind of day, guys. Happy to get some new reading material. Really happy to dig into this one. So this last book is definitely the biggest one I got in the day. And I use the word biggest in relative terms because it was still pretty inexpensive. Here's the thing, guys. If you've been watching my recent videos, you will have seen I've gone to a ton of comic shows lately and got some pretty big books. I've been spending a little bit of money, too much money, and I really want to go back to my Lunch Money Comics roots. It's flea market season, it's yard sale season. I love hunting for comic books that way, finding them cheap. That's my bread and butter. It's what I love. So I want to definitely save some money for some of the bigger stuff happening this year, like I'm going to Terrificon. So to that end, I came into this show not wanting to spend a lot of money, and I would say absolutely mission accomplished. But it definitely helps when you have some of your friends selling comic books and they give you great deals. And that's exactly what happened here. I got this from my friend Josh of Magic Geeks, who I hang out with all the time. He gave me a great deal on this because he has 3 copies of this book. And what is it? It's this. This is Sandman number 8 from 1989. Of course, written by Neil Gaiman, art by Mike Dringenberg, cover by Dave McKean. And of course, this is the 8th issue of the Sandman series by Neil Gaiman. And, I recently talked about this because this is similar to The Last Ronin. I told my friends I hadn't read Sandman yet, and they were like, how have you not read it yet? So when I got a trade paperback recently of the first 8 issues, I devoured it. And I'd already watched the TV show. I loved it. I read this, and guys, I don't know where it's been my whole life. I love this series. But of that whole 8-issue arc, my favorite issue, I think, was this last one here. So for those of you that, haven't read or haven't watched the show, it starts off with Dream, the Sandman, being captured in all of his, possessions, his artifacts being stolen from him. He escapes, spends, the first 7 issues trying to get them all back. And then we get to issue number 8. And, without having his quest of, vengeance in front of him, he's sort of having like almost an existential crisis. He doesn't really know what to do with himself. He feels like he's lost some meaning, and he gets visited by his big sister, Death. And the name of the story in this is, The Sound of Her Wings, and that's referencing the Angel of Death. And she's not like you'd think she is. Dream is the despondent dark one, and Death is kind of funny. So in this, the first appearance of Death, she's basically trying to give him his reason for going back to what he was doing, and he follows her around for the day, and you see her kind of very casually taking people's lives. But it's a very moving story, at times darkly funny. And what I think is so great about it is it works as a standalone completely. You don't even need to read those first 7 issues. You can just read this story. It's a beautifully written and drawn story. I've wanted it for a long time. It is technically a key because it's the first appearance of Death. Yeah, Josh had 3 of these. He had $80 on this one, and he said for me, $40. It helps to have friends in the hobby, guys. Absolutely, I'm ecstatic to add this to my collection. I love Sandman. I might try to collect the whole first 8 issues. I have to, right at this point. Absolutely awesome, and I gotta keep reading these. I've only read the first 8, so no one spoil anything. I've heard it gets wilder and wilder, so I'm happy to read that stuff, and I want to read it before future TV show seasons. The last thing I want to show you is some art. And you saw it in the footage already, so I'm not going to waste too much time. This I got from Michael Dooney, who I already mentioned. He worked on Ninja Turtles. Last year I met him at the show for the first time. I gave him some comic books he was interested in. I was blown away to find out that he watches Lunch Money Comics. Pretty crazy. He hunts at all the local, flea markets as well. He saw some books on my channel that he was interested in. I brought them to the show. He gave me that amazing original art of Spectre back there. One of the coolest things in my collection. He just gave it to me as a thank you. I saw him again, and guys, so he made a couple of, not many, but he made a few of these promos for the Western Mass Comic Book Show 2024. It's a print, basically, of course, my favorite Ninja Turtle, Leonardo, and he signs it. I thought this was great. I absolutely wanted it, but he also had a good amount of original art, kind of bigger stuff, portfolio stuff. He had prints of some of his, comic published work, not Ninja Turtle stuff. He works on a lot of things. But he had a stack of original art, guys. I started going through it, and it was amazing. And I could not live without this one right here. This is an original Michael Dooney art right here. I like this one because he actually put little splashes of color in there. He signed it, and on the back, you see right here, Leo, Michael Dooney, 2024. I love collecting original art, guys. And here's the thing. He's way too good to me. I couldn't believe, he's selling these for like, $30, not much at all. And these were like 20, and he sold them all to me for $20. Michael, you didn't have to do that, man. I was prepared to pay you more for your amazing work, but I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate hanging out with you and chatting and having a beer. That was actually the highlight of my day, but great to have some art to go along with it as well. So there you go. That was another incredibly successful Western Mass Comic Book Show up in Greenfield, Massachusetts. And even though I wasn't there very long, I absolutely made the best use of my time. Head on down to the comments. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know what you think of the books that you saw, the amazing comic book talent that was there. And of course, sound off down below in the comments. Let me know which of my pickups you like the best. Was it one of these, dollar books I got at His and Her Comics? Was this one of these nicer books I got later? I use that term relatively. Was it some of the unique local comic book talent that I picked up? Or maybe was it the original art I got right here? I'll tell you this right now, guys. I want to save money. I got everything here for $100. And that includes the action figures as well. So obviously, I definitely stuck to my budget, not spending a lot of money. But I got to be honest, my favorite thing on the whole day had nothing to do with any of these. It was hanging out with all the amazing people in the comic community in my area. And that's what these shows are absolutely about, guys. It's about engaging with that community, whether it's other collectors or in some cases, your local comic book talent. I had a fantastic time and I will never, ever forget it. So that's it, guys. Keep hunting for comic books in strange and unusual places. Always support your local comic book creators, comic book shows, and comic book stores. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.